Hey guys, it's Lucky Ghost here with another Elder Scrolls Online video. Today we'll be going over the 10 things I wish I knew when I started ESO. I'll cover the things you should and should not worry about, the things you should do, and a couple things you absolutely should not do. I've narrowed it down to about 10 topics, so let's begin. Number 1, nothing is permanent. Well, almost. There's two choices you'll make that as of now cannot ever be changed. These two choices happen on the character creation screen. Here you get to choose your faction and your class. Your faction is determined by your race. The only two things that you can never change are your class and your faction. Beyond that, everything else can be respec'd some way. Your champion points can be respec'd by opening up the champion point menu and then clicking F or redistribute down at the bottom. Your skill points can be respec'd by interacting with the Shrine of Surrendar. You simply have to choose whether you want to change your skills or your morphs, morphs being significantly cheaper option. And the price will vary depending on how many skill points you have. Your attribute points can be respec'd by talking to the Shrine of Alkosh. Also, at level 43, you receive a free respec scroll for your skill points and your attribute points, so you get one free respec. Number 2, deconstruct everything you don't need. On your way to champion point 160, you will find a lot of gear, especially while doing dungeons, while doing quests. You will find a lot of gear, and you'll wonder what you should do with that gear. Well, the answer is deconstruct it. Go up to a crafting bench such as the blacksmithing station and go to the deconstruct tab, and then choose the items you would like to deconstruct and deconstruct them. By doing so, you will level up your blacksmithing to a max level of 50. You will also get mats so that you can craft items later. There's 5 benches in the game: blacksmithing, woodworking, clothing, enchanting, and jewelry. When gear maxes out at 160, then you can start picking and choosing sets that are relevant to you to hang on to, while continuing to deconstruct everything else. There's one item type that you should not deconstruct and should instead sell. You'll see a gold bag next to an item, and in that case, it is ornate, and you should sell it to a merchant rather than deconstruct it. One other caveat to the deconstruct rule would be researching. If the item has a trait that you do not already know, divines would be the trait on this item, you can research it at the corresponding bench by clicking the research tab, and if there's something you can research in here, there will be a 1 next to it, and then you can choose to research it. Number 3, where should I spend my gold? There are only 2 things you should spend your gold on before you hit CP 160: increasing your inventory space and upgrading your mounts. To upgrade your inventory space, simply head to a pack merchant. On your way to champion point 160, those are the only 2 things you need to spend gold on: your inventory space and your mount upgrades. And you can also upgrade your bank space with that gold as well. Your bank space will be shared across all characters. Save your money until 160, and then if you would like to, go ahead and buy yourself a nice set of max level gear. You won't have much extra gold laying around anyways, as the bag upgrades can be expensive for a beginner, but they are 100% worth getting. You can get the last 60 carry capacity to take you to a total of 200 at the Stable Master. Number 4, upgrade your mount once a day. Mount upgrades are character based and not account wide. So a better way to look at it is to think of it as more of upgrading your character's ability to ride all mounts as opposed to upgrading the mounts themselves. When you get a new mount, all of your characters can ride it. However, each character will only receive the mount upgrades that specific character has paid for. You can put 60 points into speed, 60 points into stamina, and 60 into bag capacity. That's 180 days of research, so stay on it. Typically, I go for speed first, and then capacity, and then stamina last. Number 5, daily activities. The first random dungeon and random battleground you do each day will net you an incredibly generous XP reward upon completion. The higher your level, the larger the bonus. Here you can see 101,000 XP for completing a random normal dungeon on my CP level character. Battlegrounds, 101. Same bonus, for doing one random battleground. You can do this once every 20 hours. Random dungeons are 4-man PvE dungeons, and random battlegrounds are 4v4v4 PvP matches. So long as your team gets second or better in the random battleground, you get the XP reward. Completing both of these dailies will take only 30 or 40 minutes and net you hours worth of experience. Number 6, what is the best way to level? I could make an entire video on this. In fact, I probably will. Be sure to sub to be notified. The short answer to this is, if you're brand new to the game, do the main story quest. It's interesting and you get a free skill point for each piece of the quest that you complete. Once you hit level 10, be sure to jump into your random daily dungeon and battleground once a day. In order to pick up the main story quest, you'll head over to Glenumbra, to the Daggerfall Way Shrine. Now, as soon as you land in Glenumbra, a hooded figure will appear before you. Go ahead and accept that quest and follow everything it tells you to do all the way until it takes you to Cold Harbor and then back to the Arbor again. Each piece of that quest line that you complete will provide to you a skill point. Now, when you accept that quest, it will appear here, Main Quest, and it will always be under the tab Main Quest in your journal. So if you ever need to come back to it, go ahead and click Main Quest and click Soul Shriven Harbor, and your quest tracker will be telling you what to do here. Very useful for beginners. Note that pressing J to open up your journal and then pressing M from your journal will take you to your map. That will take you to the location on your map that you need to travel to next. You can see I'm here and I need to go here. So J, M, and it'll always take you to that objective. And then if you're not sure what zone like Daggerfall is in, you can always right click and it'll say Glenumbra. And if you're not sure where Glenumbra is, right click and here it is, top left. Beyond doing the main story quests, which is entertaining and a good way to get some skill points and educate yourself on the story of the game, you can also do a couple different things to level. One is all of the dungeons in the game. Now, the first thing you should do is your random normal dungeon, but you can only do that once a day and you've got plenty of time to play after that. You can do any of the dungeons that you've never done before, and the first time you do one of these dungeons, it will give you a skill point at the end when you turn in the quest. Also, speaking of, the quests that you turn in will give you a good chunk of XP also, so each of these dungeons are worth doing at least once. You'll do them many more times than that, but the first time you do them is very rewarding. So if you're wondering what to do next and you're not sure, go ahead and pick away at all the dungeons that the game will let you do. Dungeons are level locked, so you won't be able to do all of them right away, but as new ones unlock, be sure to go ahead and do them at least one time to get that skill point and that chunk of XP for completing the dungeon. Another interesting thing about dungeons is that they are one of the best ways to get loot in the game. Each dungeon drops its own sets of armor, and certain builds are going to ask for certain sets of armor that come from these dungeons. Now, if you want to change a pace from doing dungeons and quests, there's a third option. It's a little more mind-numbing, but can be a great source of experience if you would like to subject yourself to it, and that is to go to Alakir Desert and farm Doman. In order to farm Doman in Alakir Desert, simply go to that zone, type X in zone chat. You should receive an invite. If you don't, type Y in zone chat and you should receive an invite. Once you get an invite to a group, just teleport to somebody in that group, follow them to the Doman, they'll complete it, they'll teleport to the next one, follow them to that one, and they'll go to another Doman, follow them to that one. If you'd like to do more quests after you finish the main story quest, you can simply click on Open Zone Guide while you're in any zone, and it'll tell you where to go next to start the zone story. Zone stories are usually especially rewarding quest lines that you can do in the game. Every zone has its own zone story, and some of them give financial rewards, cosmetic rewards, and sometimes even a house as a reward. So zone stories are worth doing, although not the fastest way to level currently. Number 7, attribute points. In total, you will receive 64 attribute points. They will go primarily into stamina if you're a stamina DPS. They'll go primarily into magicka if you're a magicka DPS or a healer. And you can put 10 to 20 points into health if you feel a bit squishy as either of those roles. Generally, DPS and healers want to aim for around 18k HP in dungeons, and tanks will aim for around 35 to 40,000 HP. This includes food and party buffs. Tanks will generally split their attributes across all 3 pools, leaning into one or the other depending on their build. Number 8, what type of gear should I wear? Let's start with armor. In PvE, Magicka Toons will wear light armor, Stamina Toons will wear medium armor, and tanks will wear heavy. As for weapons, Magicka Toons will use staves, Stamina Toons will use everything else, such as two-handed maces, axes, swords, or dual wielding, a combination of those items. Stamina Toons also use bows. Tanks will use any one hand and shield on the front bar and often an ice staff on the back bar. Which type of staff should your Magicka Toon use? There are 3 types of staves: Inferno, Lightning, and Ice. Magicka DPS typically run Inferno on the front and back bar. Healers typically run a Resto staff on the front bar and a Lightning staff on the back bar, and tanks will typically run sword and board on the front and ice on the back. Be careful with ice staffs if you are not a tank. They have a passive that allows them to taunt the boss by heavy attacking, which is why they are not commonly used by anyone other than tanks. Once you hit champion level 160, be sure to figure out what 5-piece sets and which monster set you want to wear, and then go farm them. Before that, there's not a lot of point in farming 5-piece sets as you will outlevel them quickly. Number 9, you cannot outlevel content in this game. In this game, your character is scaled to the world. This is nice because it allows level 10 players to run basic dungeons, quests, and zone activities with level 810 players. Sure, they won't be quite as strong, but they will be perfectly capable. One important thing to note is that the game does this by buffing your low-level toon. So as you level, that buff will slowly be stripped away, meaning that if you don't find new gear and put it on from time to time as you level, your character is actually getting weaker. Counteract losing the buff by finding new gear or a new set and putting it on as you level up. Another awesome side effect to being scaled to the world is that there are tons of quests and side quests in the game that you will discover on your journey. Don't stress about doing every single one of them right now, as you can come back later and do them anytime you want. They will always be relevant to your character because they scale with your level. Number 10, join NPC Guilds. To join the Undaunted Guild, we're just going to teleport to the Daggerfall Wayshrine, run down, enter the Rosy Lion Inn, or pub, and we're gonna walk to the corner over here and talk to this orc, Mighty Mordra, and she'll tell us what we need to do to join the Undaunted Guild. What she's always going to say is, go to Spindle Clutch 1. So go or teleport directly into it if you would like, and then come talk to her again, listen to her spiel, and boom, you are in the Undaunted Guild. Just follow the quest that she gives you until it's complete, and then eventually when you hit level 45, being part of the Undaunted Guild will allow you to do pledges. If you are not familiar, a monster set is a 2-piece set consisting of a shoulder and a helmet. The helmet is obtained by defeating the final boss in its corresponding veteran dungeon, and the shoulder is obtained by doing Undaunted pledges, which will give you keys, and you will use those keys to gamble for the correct shoulder that you need. Monster sets are very important to every class, so be sure to get one after you hit CP 160. In order to join the Fighters Guild, look for the Fighters Guild sign in your town, the sword, and the Mages Guild will be under this Mages Guild sign, and you'll simply talk to the individual, Say it's good to see you. Yep. Talk about the guild. Join the guild. Yes, sounds good. Okay. All right. Boom. Complete the quest. So you see here, we are now part of the Fighters Guild. And if we go talk to the Mages Guild, then the Mages Guild will show up and will be part of the Mages Guild. And these will unlock these abilities and these passives as you level them up. Here's Persuasive Will, allows you to persuade NPCs. And the Intimidating Presence allows you to intimidate NPCs. These both come in very handy while doing various quests throughout the game. So both of those passives are worth picking up right away, regardless of whether your tune is going to be Magicka or Stamina. As you would expect, the Fighters Guild will be more useful to the Stamina tunes, and the Mages Guild will be more useful to the Magicka tunes. And one last bonus item will be a quick discussion on teleporting around the world of Tamriel. In order to teleport from one place to another, you will interact with a shrine, and you will be able to teleport to any other shrine in the world that you have come across. You won't be able to teleport to a shrine until you've been to it at least once before, and going from shrine to shrine is free. Now, if you open up your map, you can also teleport to any shrine in the game. So I don't have to go to a shrine. I can be over here or anywhere else in the world, and I can just open the map and I can say, I want to go to this shrine. However, there will be a gold cost for teleporting to a shrine without interacting with one first. The cost goes up based on how recently you have teleported using this method before, and you can see the cost going down as we go farther and farther from the last time I teleported without using a shrine. If you're interested in going to PvP in Cyrodiil, simply press L on your keyboard, bring up the Alliance menu, or click on this castle here. Right-click, enter campaign on the campaign you would like to go to, but be sure to mark it as your home first, so that you accrue rewards while you're in there, and then enter. And that's it for this video, guys. That's the 10 things I wish I knew when I first started the game. As long as you focus on the items mentioned, you won't be missing anything important while you're beginning your journey in Tamriel. So don't stress, enjoy the journey, and don't hesitate to ask questions. If you have any that I didn't answer in this video, leave them in the comments. I'll answer them as soon as I can. And if you'd like, I'm at twitch.tv/LuckyGhostTV, so swing on by. Until then, guys, have a good one, take care, and I will see you next time on the next video. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you're alerted when I upload more videos about ESO.